Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Dinks with Kinks. Before we get into tonight's episode, I want to remind everyone to follow us on that social media at Dinks with Kinks on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So go look us up. Before we really get into tonight, I really do want to say hello and welcome. I'm trying to do this very by the book. Very
You've never
strict.
done anything by the book, Sean Darrow.
I have good discipline when it comes. I am your host, John Undero, and with me, as always, the very wonderful, though a shill for product placement. I saw you with that Coke. They can't see it. Mr. Shep.
Good evening.
And now, a woman who needs no introduction. Somebody who this podcast would not be the same without. Miss Rebecca.
Hello, everyone.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to stay by the book, but you're right. I have no discipline when it comes to...
That was such a long pause. Yeah. I bet our entire audience was just like, what the fuck happened?
I really hope so. No, I'm tired today. I'm tired. I'm like, I'm not practicing my inner discipline.
No. This is what happens when you try to be a disciplined by the book person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It just makes your head just stall out for a few moments.
You know, I probably should have had my alter ego on here on this episode. I probably should have invited her because she's very disciplined.
She's got all the discipline. You wrangle the cats. Or herd the cats.
Herd the kitties.
Okay,
gather.
So tell me about discipline. Tell me about discipline.
All right, so tonight we're talking about discipline. And, not just like, punishments and punishments, but like what all it entails and why people enjoy it. Are you guys familiar? Like when I say the word discipline, do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Yes. Shep?
Yeah, Shep.
I'm thinking.
I know, but you're doing what I'm doing. You're making pauses.
Like, I know this is not like you. Our audience is going to be like, whoa.
I know. Well,
I feel like our dom should know what discipline's about.
Yeah.
No. It's just, as soon as we said discipline, I had the thought in the back of my head. It's like yet another thing that we really hate and loathe when we're young, but then some people seek out when we're old.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of discipline, I actually had a conversation about paddles with my coworkers, so that was fun.
Oh, that's good. Well,
and how you get corporal punishment when you were in elementary school. Did y'all ever get corporal punishment when you were in elementary school?
Yes, I did. I have been paddled many a time. And I will probably be paddled many times in the future, just because, I'm a cheeky dom.
I feel like there's that. But I feel like this is not the kind of discipline that you would, send your children off to the armed forces to get. So
I was about to say, we really do need to define what we're talking about when we're talking about discipline, because
there's so many varieties. Yes,
there is. I mean, like you have like the military discipline, you have parental discipline, you have what are some of the other ones?
Internal discipline.
Yep, self-discipline.
Self-discipline.
Self-induced discipline. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like personal discipline.
How does discipline apply to kink?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what we really have to get into tonight, because like I've been on a diet. I have been disciplining myself to not eat snacks after dinner because I'm a snacker. Like right now, I want to go upstairs and I want to eat Pop-Tarts, mainly because Shep has waffle Pop-Tarts and I want to eat them. And I don't have the discipline in the morning to eat breakfast like I should. But I have been disciplining myself, refusing myself snacks at night so I could break the habit. And I think how that applies to kink. Oh, go ahead.
Well, okay, go ahead. I have thoughts on that, but go ahead.
And how that applies to kinks is it's almost abstaining or adding a level of either control or submission to a relationship. You are giving control or you are taking over control of something for someone else when it comes to kink. And this can also be like you could use self-discipline in like kink, I would imagine.
I actually enjoy discipline in the self when I get told don't move. And you're not bound, you're not tied up. You have to, like, that is like, use that self-discipline to not move. Like, you are being told, and that is your control. Like, you have to be disciplined to do as you're told and not be a good girl. You know?
Yes, this is the type of fetish to where it's not like being bound up in straps or ropes and stuff where your control is taken away. This is a point where you are told not to do something or to do something and being controlled through your actions, not through restraints where things are taken away.
So I would imagine a lot of this kink is very verbal in its like raw essence of, being told or instructed. Well, I guess it could be through text as well, because I've known people in the past who have textual relations, and then they are verbally controlled, like they are giving their rules and putting it on paper in a very disciplinary way. Ooh, is disciplinary going to be this year's version of 1, 2, 3 exhibitionism?
Maybe disciplinary.
Yeah, I think
disciplinary.
You can say
oh my God,
textual without messing up, but you can't say the simpler ones, man.
No, I don't know what it is.
I mean, when people hear, especially when it comes to kink, when people hear discipline, they automatically go to punishments in their head. I think that's like the common thing. They automatically go to, you're going to get disciplined, paddling, spanking, whatever it is. But it's not necessarily that. That's different. That's a punishment.
Yeah. But I think we should talk about, like, I do want to talk about the impact of impact play when it comes to discipline and just the connotations behind all of that. But I think tonight we're really talking about like the first part of discipline is the act of telling somebody, these are the rules, this is what you have to follow. Setting this force rules for people. And sometimes they're not even sexual rules. I have talked to a lot of subs in the past, and they like this level of domination to be in their everyday life. Like, they want to know how they have to dress for the day. They want to be told. I mean, it's all over TikTok. Hydrate. Dom's telling somebody to hydrate, drink your water. Yeah, I see that smirk. I see that smirk all day long.
That one I am terrible at. I am terrible at hydration. I am one of those. I'm like, oh, you mean coffee? Okay.
Drink water. Hydrate. I have
one of our past guests and mutual friends, Miss Cupkink, super disciplined at the water, carrying that big freaking 64-ounce thing, and everywhere she goes, man, craziness.
I have a handful of friends that I will still text randomly. Drink water. Just stop what you're doing. Drink water. Just what I'm doing right now. I'm drinking vodka, but still, it's watercolored, so it looks like water.
I think discipline also hits the mental part of sexuality and kink. I think it's not just it is that mental erotic nature. Like you have, like it's really hot to be that disciplined and to obey the orders and to obey the commands or the requests and the lists and the rules. And it's some people, now I'm not going to say all people, I know sometimes for me, when life gets really, really, really chaotic, it does become erotic to be told what to do to relieve themselves of all the chaos. And I think that's where discipline comes in a little bit.
No, I mean, absolutely. When you're talking about discipline, control, having someone take control takes control out of your hand, takes the stress away. Because, I mean, that's almost an instinctual thing to want to be taken care of without being taken care of. You want someone to take control so it kind of relieves all that burden off of your back, which is, can be very sexually gratifying because it gives you that freedom to think about what you want and enjoy yourself. It's the same person, like, there's a difference between hosting a party and going to a party. You don't have as much fun at a party you host because you're in control. You have to make sure everyone's having a good time. You have to run around doing stuff. But if you go to a party, the only thing you have to worry about is having a good time. And so, like, discipline is very much that release of burden.
So what do you guys, I mean, I know what I get out of it, like out of discipline, like you said, relief of that control. But what do DOMs that are the disciplinarians, what do you guys get out of it? I honestly don't know.
Honestly, for me personally, I enjoy relieving somebody of that burden. It feels really good. It's very gratifying to be able to take, like, exactly what I just said, host your party. I want to host your party for you so that I can watch you enjoy. Because a lot of times, sometimes, like how subs can be very type A, very, like, in control all the time, and that's kind of why they want that burden off. A lot of DOMs are just kind of fly by, we just follow in our day-to-day lives. We're not really in control of everything like that. So being able to give that type of relief to somebody else is very gratifying. It's like, I did this.
Yes, and
it's the people who, it's the same people who get off throwing a party. Because I've met several people. Shep, me and you have a common friend who actually very much enjoys throwing the party, planning it all out, because he wants to see the people he cares about have a good time. He gets gratification from that. And it's very similar to that. It's just like, I am gratified by watching you be able to unwind, like unravel, as it were. And it's very satisfying.
Yes.
Yeah.
But, and with a Dom type like myself, who is more of a guiding, nurturing types, discipline is one of the perfect fetishes because in its essence, the discipline is establishing guidelines, rules, and then the act of training someone on these behaviors or way of acting. So if a sub is struggling with something within their life or so on and so forth, you could then use the discipline kink to guide them through training and getting through the process by establishing the rules they need to get that structure going. And of course, rewards for positive progress on the training or the act, and then of course punishment for no action or regressing. So it can be very beneficial for the sub.
And I think that's part of why DOMs enjoy it. Now, we're touching an area, we're going to talk about DOMs. I think there's something that should be very spoke about. Recognizing somebody who is abusively controlling and recognize someone who enjoys the discipline part. because this is one of those kinks that often gets misconstrued. Like people are like, "No, I am into discipline." No, you are an abusive fucktard, and this should be something that needs to be discussed. You need to know the difference that discipline should be used to help an individual, not hinder an individual. And that's very important because, like, if you're going to properly do discipline, you have to do discipline for good. That's what I always say. I want to make sure. Oh, go ahead.
There is a difference between consented like humiliation or consented degradation and actual humiliation and actual degradation, and especially when it comes to discipline, when they are asking you something that is against what you believe, who you are, that like to the core makes you uncomfortable, that's trauma. And that's, asking you to do something in public that you didn't consent to, that's not okay. And it's like, well, you have to do it because, I don't have to. And I'm allowed to say no. Like, yeah.
when you come, any type of kink should be fun for both parties. And if it's not, somebody's doing it wrong. And unlike, a lot of people think discipline as, and they want to wrap it in with degradation or humiliation. It's not that. That's an entirely different kink. Discipline at its core is structure. It is consistency and balance. It's, this goes in with the praise kink. This is positivity added out. So, like, if you usually a lot of people, if you have a praise kink, you enjoy discipline kink as well because it builds that structure for reward. I follow the rules so I can get praised.
Give me my praise.
I much prefer. You're a good boy.
You're doing a good job.
You're doing a good job. I do prefer discipline. Like I said, don't move. And then they do whatever they do, and to the point where you're forcing yourself not to move, like your hands or whatever it is. And it intensifies everything, but it's not, you're not bound. You're having to physically will yourself to not move because you were told to. That's discipline to me. That's like you are disciplined, like you're training yourself not to do or do whatever you're told to do.
And then,
it's like exercising.
Yeah, and then the main and one of the other main factors of this discipline versus every other use of the word in variety is the fact with the kink, it does also trigger the endorphins or the sexual rush or arousal and such like that. So,
and it works for both sides. The people who enjoy being like the people who enjoy praise kink and they want to listen and obey, and the true brats that want to be cheeky because they're this is a game of cat and mouse. Of you give me my discipline, but I'm going to no.
First off, I'm not super bratty. I just make you earn it.
There it is.
And yet she got really defensive, so I guess she felt attacked to theirs, which was then validating the fact of we were. Because she felt
you were
represented.
Pointing. I was just clarifying.
I don't know what you're talking about. I had an itch on my shoulder or something.
Yeah,
is that it? Is that what it was? Okay.
The best part is on our Discord screen, he's just pointing at a wall. You're on the other side of him on my screen.
Yeah, see, I don't know where I am on your screen, so I could be pointing at John for all I know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. He was pointing he was pointing at the Discord line. I'm like, yes, I have lots of subs in my Discord. But
I like the level you get to discipline when you get to that relationship level, like between your dom and sub or whatever your dynamic is, where they can just look at you. You know what I mean? And you automatically do what you're supposed to do. Like when you get up to that level where it's just a look, it's not even a verbal command. It is just like a look. And you're like, okay. Like you like, it's an automatic thing. I think that's fun. I think that's fun where you don't even have to say it anymore. It's second nature.
Like that. I do really enjoy nonverbal discipline. Like we are in our ways. We are so connected on such a level that even from across the room, I can make eye contact with you and you know exactly what I'm saying. You know exactly what I want and you know exactly what you should be doing. And that is amazing.
Oh, yes. Perfect example. You witnessed it with the nonverbal understanding. Remember our mutual friend sitting on the couch and me just looking, and then all of a sudden heavy squirming and squealing just ensues?
Yep.
Yeah, that was entertaining.
Shep can non-verbally look at a missed cup kink and have a very awesome reaction to that. And so, yeah, I get to witness that firsthand. And I very much enjoy, like, just that dynamic. And I enjoy both the what I call punishments and punishments. You know, like the earned rewards and then the punishments. And I am one of those people is I have very creative on both sides.
Oh, of course you are. Of course you are.
So I want to hear some of y'all's favorite
Yes, he's very creative with his hand placements or different places of his body. Very.
I can tell you, I have a lot that I like, but I can tell you one that I don't like. There are two.
Okay.
It's the kneeling on the rice, or the kneeling on,
I'm sorry, what? Go ahead.
Yeah, I was like,
there is a punishment where, there's a punishment where, they will have you kneel on rice that's uncomfortable.
Yeah, that sounds very uncomfortable. That's like kneeling on Legos, only miniature Legos.
Yeah.
Have you had to do that
another
before?
one. This is the popular one, writing lines.
Go on.
You write, you're given it like in school, you write lines.
Oh, I thought I heard writing lines for a second there. Writing lines.
Yeah, I heard writing lines too.
Right.
See?
Right with a T, not writing.
So you're going to be Bart Simpson on the chalkboard?
Yeah, they write lines. And I think it's because I write a lot just in my daily life that I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. No, thank you.
No, that's a.
No.
That has nothing to do with your Brady side kicking in. No, I don't want to do that.
No, both of those sound butts. I would not want to make anyone do either of those because that sounds like hell to me. I don't like being on my knees on soft plush carpet, let alone on rice. Oh my God. My punishments are so much more fun.
I have seen a punishment though, just because I'm not in a dynamic, so I can't say that I've done this, but I've seen it, and I sort of it's exercise. They give you an exercise to do, and then but you're wearing one of those wearables toys, and they've got the remote control, and they just start doing that, and if you fall out, you have to start over. They give you so many exercises to do, and if you fall out of it or whatever, you have to,
I immediately envisioned the wall sit was as perfect torture for that one. The wall sit, yeah.
Honestly, I've seen that on TikTok, or as they like to call it, kink talk, where there are videos of people doing exercises, and you just hear them, and you see them squirm. And didn't you send me one of those, Rebecca?
I did.
I think you're the one who sent me that video.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like those TikToks really vibe.
Mm-hmm.
They do. Wah, wah, wah.
John is so out of the pun.
I know he
game
is
tonight, so I had to put in his version at least once.
I am disciplining myself to not pun this episode.
Oh, good.
That's what I was doing. And I'm super sleepy. I don't know what's going on. I mean, it's not even that late. I'm just like, because I haven't been properly disciplining myself at sleep.
So that's
is
sleep
that it?
face, man.
That is my sleep phase. Actually, probably one of my favorite punishments is I'm one of those people, like, I believe that spanking and all of the, like, impact play and naughty, kinky, sexy, quote unquote punishments are rewards, depending on my partner. Like, this is something that's very partner dependent. And then my favorite punishment, if you want to be bratty, is I'm going to be what I like to call the concerned parent, where I'm like, well, maybe we should spend some quality time together. We should.
Oh my God, that sounds awful.
You want to be bratty?
He did say
Well, then
quality
let's-
time. I'm like, quality Dundero
let's-
time. Oh my.
No, let's sit down and watch a movie.
I got fear bumps.
Because I don't believe in punishments that should have any negative connotation. But
See, okay, the woman in me is like, the human in me is like, aw. The brat
Right.
in me is like, what the fuck?
Yep. And every time I tell a sub, like, somebody who potentially wants to be a sub and whatnot, I tell them this is my system. I know you like to be choked. I know you like to be spanked. Those are your very fun things, and those are what you're gonna make you want to act out because you want those. But when you act out and you're bratty, I'm going to double down on that brat, and I'll be like, you know what I'm hearing from this is that me and you are not just spending enough time together. That you are crying for attention.
That's evil.
So I tell you this. Let's cuddle up. Let's wrap ourselves in a burrito blanket and watch a movie together. And it could be any movie you want to watch. And we are not going, like, I'm not withholding affection, but I will definitely withhold kinkiness. And, like, we are going to spend quality time. So
I'd rather you kneel on the rice.
yeah, right? Because I don't believe in doing any punishments that would, like, one, make my partner ever feel neglected or that they are unloved. That they're uncared for. But, you be bratty, so they'll spank your ass. And I'm like, oh no. You be a good girl, you get your ass spanked. You be a bratty girl. We're going to watch my favorite Star Wars movie. We're gonna binge watch The Mandalorian.
But is that really a punishment if they like Star Wars too?
No. That's the thing.
And,
It's not a punishment.
Me being who I am, I just question, okay, so you will not administer kinkiness, but you never said anything about self-administered kinkiness. I am just saying they could just be like, okay, and like go up and do their own thing, because that's what I would do. I'd be like,
listen.
You have fun with Kirk and Spock. I'm going to go over here with
That's
my
why
money.
he included the wrapping up in the blanket together. So that is entrapping you in the situation.
Yeah. Your punishment is you have to spend time with me.
Wow.
Oh, there's
that
no
hurts me
punishment
deep,
there,
man.
John. I
Scared me.
know. I like spending time with you.
Yep. But I may, while we're watching the movie, remind you of all the kinky shit we could be doing.
Yeah.
Something in the movie and be like, hey.
But see here, a
Hey,
smart
hey.
brat,
Hey,
smart brat would be like, okay, yeah. See, there's a way to get around that. There are loopholes.
But I will say this that's what I kind of really enjoy about discipline is, and dub-som relationship. That's why I love brats, because I like to call myself the bratty dom. I like to fight brat with brat. I wouldn't say I'm a brat. Yeah. I wouldn't say I would tame a brat by any stretch of the means. I'm just going to have to, that brat is going to have to resort to being clever. Because I very much enjoy the cat and mouse stuff. Go ahead, be bratty. I'm down for that. I've got responses to your bratty levelness. And, I gotta say, they're fun.
Just, I don't know. I enjoy discipline a lot. I think it's
that's my
because
response to brattiness sometimes.
No, the look away.
And just
that
just wait.
Who on both
that
of
visual
you?
gag.
I enjoy discipline because it hits the mental part of kink. Like I said, I really enjoy the mind games a lot. So I think that this is one that it's not physical so much as it is mental and emotional. It is making choices and being very strict about those choices. So
Yeah. And like I said, I am absolutely a huge fan of discipline as well. As long as it's done in a positive manner. Like, I don't believe that discipline should be used to, like you said earlier, give trauma or stuff. A lot of times, a sub-dom relationship, they exist to create a better version of yourself. You know, a lot of subs I have met that enjoy the discipline thing, the discipline kink, is because they want to better themselves, but they don't have the strength themselves. And this kind of helps them. Like, it's like having a personal trainer. But, and I'm not saying this works for everybody, but like, in my experience, most of the people I have met that are into this discipline kink, it's essentially like I want a sexual physical trainer, someone who's going to hold me accountable for my actions, and do that. And I that's kind of what I really like, because that, as a dom, it gives me like my ability to care for somebody. I'm going to hold you accountable for it. And that holds me accountable for it, because I have the mentality of, I would not do something that, I would not ask something of you that I would not do myself. So I am now accountable to myself, because I'm accountable, I'm holding you accountable to me.
To yourself, or do to yourself.
Yeah, I enjoy that.
right. So.
Yeah.
Would you? Or have we? We all have. I think we've done a couple where we've all done it. Like, we haven't had a kink where we're like, well, would you? We haven't had to do the would you wheel, really.
Do you know what's sad is we didn't do the would you will last week.
Would we? Is Don Darrow on FetLife?
Don Darrow is on FetLife. It will be as this episode goes live. If you're listening to this episode now, Don Darrow is now a fetish on FetLife. I am creating it literally as we speak. As I'm loading up the would you will, I mean, not the would you will, but the kinks for what we're doing next week, I'm also opening up FetLife to add me, because I did forget to add that.
And of course, as we are with the new year, we are trying to add a little more discipline and proper regression into our episodes and such.
Yeah, kind of going back to our roots.
Kids.
Go ahead.
Kids. And Braddies. Well, you're both younger than me, so I can actually say that, kids. Anyways. Are there any precautions with this particular, or things to be mindful of, aside from the obvious, bad fuckface, as you said earlier, I believe it was? Versus the proper use of the discipline fetish.
Controlling fuckface, yeah. I think that's what I said.
It's when somebody, well, it can go both ways. When you're a sub and your dom is like trying to teach you discipline, but it's more like grooming, or like trying to get you to be or do things, and that you're not control. If your control is not consented, it becomes demeaning, and it becomes abusive, and it becomes this thing where it's almost covert abuse, where it's like, oh, I agreed to this. I agreed to that, but I didn't agree to that, but I guess they go together. It's when you start having those thoughts, that's when you need to sort of step back and go, whoa, is this exactly what I agreed to or not? Yeah. It's when you start having to, he starts saying, well, you agreed to this, so why wouldn't you do this? Well, because those are two different things. Boundaries. boundaries even in the discipline. And as a sub, like subs can get needy and drain doms and be like, you know, and you have to be aware of that. I mean, everybody, there's discipline in requiring somebody, and then there's somebody that's being needy and just needs to be taken care of all the time. There's a big difference between that as well. So
I agree. It is this is definitely a fetish where you have to have balance to it. You can't let it consume either your dom or your sub. And remember, it is a kink. You can live the lifestyle 24/7, and there's nothing wrong with that. But you can't let it consume and become who you are. You still have to maintain yourself throughout this. Like, don't let the discipline be the only thing that you are. And
this
I've
is a
seen
slippery
people
slope.
get
This
real
is a
close.
kink that you could slip into something very unhealthy very quickly if you are not very mindful of it, both as a dom and as a sub.
Yes,
Absolutely.
And, I'll do the serious stuff for just a moment and be like, in the dom aspect, if you are using the discipline kink in a way that is helping a sub try to overcome something as an emotional scar, a phobia, or just, you know, a bad trigger of the past, be extremely mindful of the rules you set and the punishments and the rewards. Because, you know, the sensitive aspects of the mind that this particular type of discipline aid goes through. The punishments can, you know, cause regression. Man, you never really want that in the punishments.
Yeah.
You want it to have a positive effect or just a no effect. Because when you're trying to use discipline in those more really deep emotional situations and scenarios, you want to be careful that there is never regression of the process or progress.
Absolutely. And if you're using it for therapy, make sure you're in actual therapy as well. Because, like I said, this is a great therapy. It is very helpful in not just your sexual life, but, like, you know, as something that may help you as a therapy device. But make sure you're also using professional therapy if you're using this as therapy. Like, don't rely on this as your only means of therapy.
Right.
You know, if you're using this for therapy, it's a good sign that you may need therapy, and that's okay. I'm in therapy. I love therapy. It's great. It helps me.
Yes, but even with the best intentions, you still can, if it's not done right, you can cause harm. So maybe make sure you understand all the aspects of that given situation you're going to try to help out and train out of before you take action.
Absolutely. And with that said, it wouldn't be a disciplined episode if we didn't spin the wheel. And here we go. We're spinning that wheel. Nope.
I'm just going to cross my fingers and hope. The wheel's almost hit me like a million times, and it hasn't.
It has. But this time, I was spinning the wheel, and it jumped off the page into a pop-up ad.
Aww.
We're sponsored now? We have ads popping up on our
No. Okay, so we're right in the middle. And we were right in the middle of two fetishes, and it just picked both. It said tie. So
That was the tie. So
let's go. The tie was actually, we could do a part 2 where we talk about collars and leashes, or we could go in the opposite
I actually had a
direction
conversation
and,
about that today. What's the second one? I'm sorry.
Group sex.
Both are very fun topics. I could talk about both. I had a conversation about collars and leashes today.
I actually have a little trouble wrapping my head around that as a fetish and not just a sexual fantasy act
Which one?
Group sex. It's like,
Funny story. Okay, you know what? We really should do group sex next week.
Yeah. That one, because that one story. Even I'm like,
This one I have experience with, not so far as me doing. I've never actually done it, but I have recent experience. No, I mean, just because as of recently, I have been in the dating world, and a couple of people I've talked to, you know, of course I tell them, hey, I host a kink podcast, just so you know, I may be kinky or not, and that's kind of my introduction of, I'm weird. If you're gonna date me, just know I'm on a kinky podcast. And so then we start talking about kinks, and you would be surprised how many people I have met who are very into the idea of group sex. So I think this would be a very fun subject to talk about, because I didn't realize it was as popular.
It is very popular.
A kink. Yeah,
well, see, again, that's why I'm really curious here, because sure, it's really popular. It's group sex. I mean, it takes a lot of people to get into that one. But anyways.
I honestly think.
Ooh, yeah. See, anyways. Wait, how is it a fetish? How does it translate to a fetish? That's what I want to know.
Well, that's okay. If you want to know, tune in next week when we're going to talk about group sex. And I'm going to tell you, actually, because this is one I've already done research on, because I had that same question. So, and because I was talking to partners, and I'm like, but would I be into this? So I did research, and I was kind of amazed about what I found about it, like why people like it. So I am thoroughly excited for next week's episode. Mainly because there's a whole week of work, there's a whole week I don't have to do any work because I've already researched it.
I mean,
I already know my shit.
I can't say I don't have some well-versage in this particular topic in some ways, but yeah, that's why I can't wrap fetish around the package.
Yeah.
We'll see.
But until then, I hope you enjoyed tonight's episode. It's been a lot of fun. I think it's good to get back to our roots, where, we've had a bunch of silly fun, but we're kind of starting to get back into like more detailed analysis of what kinks are and why they like it. And I'm really enjoying that. I am your host, John Dondero, and with me, as always, the very disciplined, the very, stoic Mr. Shep.
Bringing back the roots. Until next time.
And the always perfectly delightful, but always just a little bit bratty, Miss Rebecca.
A little bit.
A little bit.
I was giving you the. Listen, I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt, but yeah.
That boat sailed.
Good evening, everyone.
Good night, everybody.